Someone asks you a simple question. So, what are you doing for your birthday? And your answer always confuses people. Nothing, it's just another day. Suddenly, the room gets quiet. Someone laughs awkwardly. Someone insists you must do something. A dinner, a party, at least a cake. Because according to the world around us, birthdays are supposed to be loud, balloons, photos, a table full of people singing slightly off-key. So when someone treats their birthday like an ordinary Tuesday, people assume something must be wrong. But psychology tells a much more interesting story, because when people quietly ignore their birthdays, the reason is often not indifference, it's experience. Sometimes that experience started a long time ago. Imagine this. You're young, maybe 15, maybe 16. You've spent weeks planning your birthday. You set up tables in the backyard, drinks in a cooler, music equipment ready. You invited the people you believed were your closest friends. You picture laughter, conversations, a night you'll remember. You imagine the exact moment when everyone arrives, the energy, the noise, the feeling of finally being seen and celebrated. And then the time arrives, the tables are set, the food is ready. The music waits to be turned on, but nobody comes. You sit there for a while, telling yourself they're just late. You check your phone again and again. Eventually you eat some of the food alone while the evening grows quieter. The rest stays in the fridge for days. Moments like that leave a mark. Psychologists call this learned helplessness. When the brain experiences disappointment enough times, it quietly changes its strategy. Instead of hoping again and risking the same pain, it lowers expectations. Not because the person stopped caring, because the brain learned that caring too much can hurt. So years later, when someone asks about their birthday, the answer becomes simple. It's just another day. That sentence often sounds calm, but sometimes it was built from old disappointments. Not every story starts with a party that never happened. For some people, birthdays were simply forgotten. A child waits all day, expecting the moment their family will remember. Their siblings had cakes, their birthdays were loud and joyful. But when their own day arrives, the house stays quiet. They sit in the living room as evening slowly turns into night. Every sound in the kitchen raises hope for a moment. Maybe now someone will bring out a cake. Maybe now someone will remember. But nothing happens. At some point, the child stops waiting. Our brains are remarkably efficient at adapting to patterns. When something meaningful keeps being overlooked, the brain eventually decides not to invest energy in expecting it again. What looks like indifference later in life can sometimes be the quiet result of a child who learned not to wait. But not everyone who ignores their birthday carries a painful story. Some people simply grew up in circumstances where birthdays never became a big event. Take those born between Christmas and New Year's. Their birthday often disappears inside the holiday season, presents get bundled together, friends are traveling, family gatherings already happened. Some jokingly call it Happy Birth Mass. Over time, it just becomes normal. Their birthday blends into the background of winter holidays. For them, ignoring their birthday isn't avoidance. It's simply the way life always worked. And then there's another group entirely. People whose lives move so quickly that the calendar barely keeps up. Work deadlines, projects, responsibilities, messages piling up. Days blur into weeks. Psychologists sometimes call this time blindness. When the mind is juggling too many things at once, dates lose their emotional weight. The birthday arrives, and by the time someone notices, half the day is already gone. Not forgotten intentionally, just squeezed out by everything else. But perhaps the most misunderstood group is the quietest one. These are the people who know it's their birthday. They just don't feel the need to celebrate it loudly. While others plan parties months in advance, these people often choose something much simpler. Maybe a quiet walk. Maybe a day to reflect on the past year. Maybe nothing more than a calm evening at home. To some observers, that looks lonely, but often it's the opposite. Psychologists studying self-determination theory discovered something interesting about well-being. People who rely less on external validation often feel more stable emotionally. Their sense of worth doesn't depend on attention, applause, or public celebration. They don't need a date on the calendar to remind them they matter. They already know. And sometimes their birthday becomes less about celebration and more about perspective. A pause. A quiet moment to look back at the year that passed. What changed? What was learned? What still matters? For them, silence can feel more meaningful than noise. One person once described finding this video on their birthday while sitting alone in their home office. Outside, rain tapped gently against the window. They had baked a lemon cheesecake over the weekend. Later, they planned to order lunch from their favorite restaurant. On the keyboard sat a simple handwritten note their partner had left that morning. No balloons, no party. Just a few honest words on a piece of notebook paper. And somehow that small gesture meant more than any extravagant celebration. Later, they planned something simple. A quiet hike together to a natural hot spring. Just the two of them. Sometime later that month. No crowd, no spotlight. Just a memory waiting to happen. That quiet moment says something important. Not everyone wants to feel special the same way. Some people celebrate birthdays with crowds and candles. Others celebrate them quietly with a walk, a reflection, or the comfort of a peaceful day. Neither approach is wrong. They simply reveal different relationships with attention, expectation, and meaning. Because at the end of the day, a birthday is just a marker in time, another orbit around the sun. What truly matters is not how loudly that moment is celebrated, but how someone feels about their life on the other 364 days. Some people need the party to feel seen. Others learn to feel whole without one. So the next time someone casually says they're doing nothing for their birthday, don't assume something is missing. They might have learned something important about themselves. They might have found peace in quieter ways of living. Or they might simply belong to a small, quiet tribe of people who don't need a calendar to remind them they matter. And if that sounds a little like you, there's nothing strange about it. Just another gentle reminder that there are many ways to move through the world. Some loud, some quiet, both completely human. Milk and honey for your soul.